people didn't say you could do. You did the unthinkable. I see the background you got back there. I see the championships. I see Smo smiling. I see Jimmy into the game, and I see Bam looking at him like, "What you doing all that for?" And that must be the same face Bam gave him when he went to the locker room. But I want to ask you this, man. Just give the folks a quick recap of the season, Dave. Like, how are you feeling about your team right now?
I feel good, honestly. Now that I really think about everything, I feel good. Because we exceeded my own expectations of what I felt that we could do this year because of everything we didn't do in the off season before the year started. Like I said this countless times, we let PJ Walker go. We didn't even. I mean, not yeah, PJ Tucker. Sorry, not PJ Walker. I'm thinking about football right now. I don't understand why.
So
we let PJ Tucker go. And we didn't have anyone to replace him. And then later on in the season, we traded away Dwayne Dedman, who was a good defensive piece that we had, to the Spurs for a second round pick of some cash, which is not a lot. And we didn't do much at that point. And then when the trade deadline came, we had a chance to get Kyle Lowry out the door and to get someone else in. And Pat Riley took a nap. Bruh. So we all know how I felt about that. I had a huge rant about that, and I was livid. Even put Pat Riley in the doghouse. There was a point where I put Bam Adebayo in the doghouse.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
So there was a lot of things about that, and like I said, I was really upset. But that's because I expected more from my team. I know what we're capable of, and I knew I was like, I expect y'all to do more. So I wanted you guys to be able to, compete for a championship. And that's where we ended up. We ended up in the NBA Finals this year, where a lot of people did not think we were capable of doing that. They said that we were outmatched against Milwaukee. Yes, I get it. I understand that Giannis got hurt, but he did come back, and he still played his game, and we still won. So I get it. I get it. If you're the best, if he's supposed to be what he is, and he's supposed to, be that kind of a player, then they should have been able to get us out the door, whether he was injured or not. He came back and played like he wasn't injured at all. So beat them 4-1. Then the next round, I had no confidence in the Knicks. I knew we were going to win that series, but there was some people who feel like that we didn't belong because the Knicks actually you were one of them. There were other people where it wasn't just you. Because I made bets with people during that, and someone had to do 50 push-ups for that, Vaughn. And then when we got to the Eastern Conference Finals, people thought we were outmatched in that one as well. They said that the Celtics were the better team. They were the best team in the NBA, not just in the East, but the best team. Yeah. Best team in the East. And look, we went up 3-0, but then they came back and won 3 games. So we had to go game 7 in the house, and we beat them by 20 at home in game 7. I get it. I get it. Jason Tatum got hurt, but they still had what people said was the better team. Jaylen Brown did not play a great game. He had 8 turnovers in that game, which was his career high, which is not good. But all in all, with the team that we had, we got all the way to the NBA Finals this year. First playing team to ever make it to the NBA Finals. But only the second 8 seeds to ever make it. And of course, now that we know the results, both 8 seeds have never won an NBA title because there was the Knicks in 1999 and then us this year. So we didn't win it all, but I'm glad that we were actually able to get there. That's better than any team in the chat. And that's not me taking a shot. That's just me saying that I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this until the first round. After the first round, after game 3 in the first round, I said we can go all the way. And I pretty much did that. We went all the way. So, but I want to talk about some things that I think we should do. Because there are a lot of talks about Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal being able to come to Miami.
Oh, I know you want to go there. Hold on. I just thought about it. Because you said you went all the way. You got your expectations. But one thing, though, because you really wasn't on the show like we wanted you to be on, Hopefully your son doing good,
Yeah, he is. He's good.
But just, I know you watched the highlights. Like, I just need to know your initial reaction after that game.
My initial reaction after the game was, Jimmy, where were you at?
Okay.
That was my initial. My initial reaction was like, Jimmy, like, what are you doing? And then Spo, why did you have Tyler Hero available, but you didn't give him a minute in the game? So that's my question. Um, if you said and you said all hands on deck, clearly it wasn't all hands on deck because Tyler Hero didn't play a minute.
That's a
So
fact. That's a
that
fact.
sounds like a false statement to me. I don't like that at all. Um, and my question is, why did Strus get more minutes in that game than Duncan Robinson when Duncan Robinson was actually hitting the shots? I didn't
Mm,
like that either. Strus played terrible the last three games of this of the finals. Him and Gabe Vincent, neither one of them played well. So I won't put this all on Jimmy, but Jimmy was not aggressive when he needed to be. But this was a total team loss. But him as being the best player, being the leader, he has to do more. And whether and yes, I could say that he was clearly injured after the Knicks series, but he still had games where he played and you're out there on the court. You're not making excuses, so I'm not going to make excuses for you. So you did everything you're supposed to do to get us there. So you got to be able to help us win it all. You said that we were going to win it all, and we didn't. So that's being put on your shoulders, Jimmy. I still consider you a star and a number one. You know, you may not be a number one on other teams, but you are a number one on our team because you fit our culture.
facts.
You are the epitome of what heat culture is. This is exactly why I have it in my background. This is heat culture. This is what we do. When people think that we can't get it all, when we can't win it, we do everything that we can to get ourselves there. Um, two of the last out of the 4 years you've been there, you gotten us to two NBA Finals appearances. People didn't think that we would ever make the finals again when LeBron James left. You clearly changed that. Three of the last 4 years since you've gotten us there, we've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. The only time we didn't was after the bubble because
We
that was
on
a
that one.
late that was a late finals. No
Yeah.
finals has ever been played that late. And then you only had what, a month or two free after that. So you and then it was injury riddled, it was COVID riddled, but that happened to a lot of teams in the NBA. And we got swept in the first round by the eventual champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's not like when we lose, when we lose, we either lose to someone who gets to the finals or someone that wins the finals. That's pretty much what happens. Because when
And
we got to the finals, we lost to the Lakers in the bubble. We lost this year to the Nuggets, and then in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, we lost to the Celtics, who got to the finals. And then in 2021, we lost against the eventual champions. So three of those teams have become the champions, and one just got there. So it's not like we're losing to bad teams. We're losing to teams that actually are really good. So I'm proud of my team because of what we did.
and I like that you said that because now you done built it up. So now you can talk about your expectations going into next season.
Yeah. So now the expectations, I believe, for Miami is to go get another star. That's what we need. We need another star. I like what Bam did in the finals because he stepped up when I didn't think he would, and he did. He played exactly the way he should have played this entire playoffs. He played his butt off. Um, but it was everyone else. It was pretty much just Bam and everybody else. No one else really did what they were supposed to do. So, and what we were missing was scoring. We missed scoring, and we needed a bench that could actually come in and produce. We didn't really have that. The only person that came off the bench and produced, honestly, was Duncan Robinson. Kyle Lowry had his spots and his moments where he did what he should have done, but it wasn't consistent. This is exactly why I said I would rather have Gabe Vincent starting and have Kyle Lowry on the bench. But what I noticed is now, from what I've heard from the press conferences, Gabe Vincent might be gone.
Mm.
There's a possibility that he may or may not be. He may or may not be there. He's expecting to be paid as well, but I don't think he's going to get paid a lot. I'm not expecting to get an offer of 15 million more. I'm not expecting that because this is really what the first season anyone's really noticed Gabe Vincent. I knew what he was capable of because that's my team, but no one else really talked about Gabe other than this year in the playoffs. No one else really expected him to be what this was because I remember in the regular season, people was like, "All right, well, y'all need to go to another point." And I was like, "We have a point guard. He's just coming off the bench. He really needs to start and put Kyle Lowry on the bench." And that was the switch that was needed to be made, and it got made. Um, so who knows what's going to happen with Gabe? Struess, I don't know. I think more likely he comes back. Um, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. More they're saying that Kevin Love will come back, but the moves I think we need to make. We need. I still think we need to go get a solidified four that can spread the space the floor and play some defense because we got someone that can space the floor. Kevin Love can space the floor, and he is one of the best passers in the league, especially when it comes from one end of the court to the other.
You need to be a
Um,
quarterback.
exactly, and and he can rebound the ball like crazy. He's still a great rebounder, but we all know he's a defensive liability. That's just what he's always been his entire career. So we need somebody that's going to be able to play some defense as well. I've named some players before. Was it John Collins and Miles Turner? But Miles Turner just got a contract from the Indiana Pacers, so that may or may not happen. Um, some people may throw around DeAndre Ayton, but I don't think that he fits our culture. So I would say no to DeAndre Ayton. There are other players out there that I like as well. But the one player that I have to talk about is Dame. That seems to be the talk of the town now. And that's because of something he came out and said that if there was a trade to be happened, Miami is the obvious choice.
Two players that said that.
Yeah, two players actually said that. Um, so that could possibly be a move, but from what I'm hearing from the Blazers and from Dame is that they're still working together to actually build around Dame. So I'm not going to put all my hopes and dreams on that. I would love for it to happen, but I don't know. I don't know what Pat's thinking. I don't know what the offer is going to be. But if it was to happen, it would be great, and that could, I believe, that could put us over the top. Because
Dame would be the
yeah,
one. Yeah, okay. I just want because I said it's two players. The other players for the folks that's listening, and if you've
yeah,
been like under a rock, underneath a rock that's on top of another rock, Bradley Beal is
mhm,
the other team that's been other player that's been leaked to the team.
yeah. Bradley Beal has also been leaked to the team as well. There's two. There's actually been three players leaked to the team. So
Oh,
so there was Bradley Beal and Kyrie Irving were the other two players that were leaked to
what?
the team. So they said that Miami had offered a trade for Kyrie last year before the trade deadline. So that's another name. I mean, I'm okay with it. It's not my first option, but I'm okay with it. Kyrie is my favorite point guard in the league just because of the way he plays. But I mean, what? There's a lot that comes with Kyrie. But I think it will work well because of his relationship with Jimmy. So I think that would be fine. Like I said, I'm okay with it. I don't see how that would happen because I don't think we're going to offer him that money. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. But I would say this though. I mean, if we offer Duncan Robinson, if we pay Duncan Robinson 90 million, I think we should whatever Kyrie asks. I think we should at least give him something close to that. If that was the case. Now Bradley Bill, he just signed a contract for 215 million. So,
Hmm.
so are we really going to give up a lot for Bradley Bill? I don't see us doing that. I really don't.
Well, you
Because
see what
that's what.
Mark said.
Yeah,
I'll bring it back up.
I get what Mark said. I'm not paying attention to what Mark said. Um,
Oh, I'm
although
sorry.
he's,
I'm
I
sorry.
guess
Joe
it's.
will kill us if we didn't read the comment. I got for the audio listeners. Mark
Mhm.
said we don't want anybody from Miami. They play good together, but they mid individually. And Mark is a Wizards fan, so he's speaking from the
Exactly.
aspect of
Yeah, I get it. Mid individually, but the Wizards has been a mid team, so I guess. Um,
see now I see how
I'm
Carl
sorry.
felt.
I
Nah,
had to
nah,
take
I
a
know
shot.
how Carl felt. Yep.
I had to take a shot because this is Mark. But no, I mean, I think the pieces that would probably fit somewhere else would be a Tyler Hero. I think he would still be a good player somewhere else if he was to get traded. He's probably the one person on there that's going to get talked about the most to be a trade piece because he's the more likely one. He's young. He's a good scorer. He was a six man of the year last year. So that I get it. I get it. And before the broken hand, he was actually helping us put some buckets in the playoffs against the Bucks. So he's a scorer. But he also just got a big contract from Miami. So that's what probably would set it off with that. But who are you going to add into that deal? Are you going to add Kyle Lowry into that deal? Do you
You would
really
have
want?
to.
Do you
You would
want
have to.
someone that's that old and not really able to play his game the way you want to? Then that would mean that the Wizards are in full rebuild mode to take on somebody like that. Um,
See, let me let me jump in right quick because I thought about this when I was coming home, right? And I was like, Tyler Hero, Bill for Hero, and Cal Lowry. Then I thought about, I was like, if we not in rebuild mode, I don't want to bring. If I'm getting Cal Lowry, he has to play. There's no buyout. Like we're not doing that. We can't trade for players that want to buy out after they got here. Because if you're like you're saying, if you're not in rebuild and you're trying to make the play in, that's a bad idea. But if you're
Mhm.
in rebuild mode, I agree with you. You get Cal Lowry expiring contract, get him off the books, let him go somewhere, and you keep Hero. And Bill goes down to Miami and lives happy.
Exactly.
Maybe.
And that could be the piece because Bill's a scorer, but he hasn't necessarily been healthy all the way. But I mean, Miami hasn't always been healthy, so I get it, and it could possibly work. So who knows? But I mean, all the other players on the team, the only other name would be the only other big name on the team, honestly. I mean, Caleb Martin may be mentioned because of how he's played this year as well, because he stepped up. Remember, he started the year as the power forward on the team, which I thought was stupid. But when we went and got Kevin Love, he went back to his original position as a small forward and actually did what he needed to do and actually played a lot more and played a lot better. So I would like to keep him on the team, but if we're trading him for someone, I would rather that be Dame. If we're going to trade a lot of pieces, I would rather that be for Dame because that's someone I know who's going to do whatever he needs to do in the playoffs. He's gotten to the Western Conference Finals before. He's had some big games in the playoffs, so I would, if I'm between the two, I'm picking Dame. Now I'm cool with Bill, but Bill just got a $250 million super max last year. So, and there's only so many super maxes you can have on one team. Because remember,
That's just the CBA.
Jimmy has one already.
Bam.
Bam has one, and then Tyler just got one last year because he was a six man of the year.
But with the new CBA, right, it only limited it to
It
two,
only
right?
allows you to have two.
Hmm.
So what can we really do to be able to do that? I don't think it's a lot. So
I'm gonna ask
there are
you.
some things that can be made, but
I'm gonna ask you
mm,
two. I'm gonna ask you two questions then. So let's like play down this mythical world, right? If you get Dame, right, and you kind of keep all the pieces that you have. Well, I don't really know how the trade will work out. Let's just say you got Dame, Butler, and now you have Bam. Where does your team rank in the Eastern Conference?
top four team in the East,
All right.
top three team in the East, because you still got to talk about Milwaukee, Philly, and Boston. But
Okay.
everyone else you can flip them around. You got the Knicks, the Cavs, what the Hawks, the
It's really Cavs. Like you said, Cavs, Knicks, Cavs. After that, it's really
Cavs.
a toss up. Atlanta, we
Yeah,
don't really know where they're gonna be. And
exactly. We
remember
don't know what
yesterday we had Pacers and Pistons fans on here, and they're really talking about being in the top from 8 on down. Orlando, they might be top 5. Don't forget, top 5, top 5.
it's not happening, but I get you. Orlando. So there's some Chicago. Can't forget about Chicago because Chicago was right there, but we don't know what they're going to do with Zach Levine. He might be gone. Vucevic. Are they going to give him that contract to keep him there? So who knows how that's going to happen. Um, so yeah, I put us top four team in the East. I mean, if you look at it this year, we were still a top four team in the East. Our record wise just didn't see that. But you saw how
Mhm.
we played. We played like we were a top four team in the East.
I mean, you made the finals. That lets
Exactly.
you know y'all should have been in that top 4 discussion the
Ex-
entire time.
Exactly. We should have been, but we didn't play that way in the regular season. So I get it.
All right. This
But
could be
top
a
four team in the East.
okay. This could be a quick one. I would say same question, but with Bill. But I feel like you feel better with Dame. But I just gotta ask because Bill's out there. So same question with Bill. What do you rank? Still top 4?
Top four, top five. I would probably put us at five, probably because I think that well, he's a solidified scorer, so I'm not taking that away from him. It's just how healthy is he going to be? But I guess you can kind of ask that with Dame too, because Dame hasn't necessarily been healthy the last few years either.
That's true.
So um, for me, I'm just more so going off of their playoff success, and Dame has gotten further than Bill, but
Okay.
who knows how that works? Like I said, I think I'm okay with both of them honestly, but I just prefer Dame over Bill.
Gotcha. And we got one more question. Just like team and player accolade predictions. You don't have to ask me that question because you already know my team ain't gonna do too much. So I'm gonna ask you because I just came from the finals.
So MVP
mm.
MVP for the team. I mean, I can't. Am I going to say someone other than Jimmy? Am I really going to do that? I'm not. I'm not. It's Jimmy. Jimmy's the MVP. He's the leader. He's the best team. He stepped up in the playoffs more than anyone else did, from what they did in the regular season. With him being our leader, we got all the way to the NBA Finals. Now, when
Oh,
we got there
I think with this question, Joe was saying like, what do you think they will win? Will they be first NBA
next
next
year,
year? Yeah, next year.
the only person I would say something about is maybe Bam being in the Defensive Player of the Year.
I can see
Him
that.
being in that conversation. Anyone else, I don't see that. I don't see anything else other than if we keep Caleb, he could be sixth man of the year. That's something that could happen for him if that happens. Um, but who knows? Who knows exactly how that'll work out? But I'm cool with either one. Um, and like he pretty much said what I said before. We need a solid big. Um, but the only thing is you won't move Bam to 4 because Bam is not a solidified bucket getter when it comes to shooting.
Mm.
He can make some buckets from 10 to 15 feet in the mid range, but outside of that, you don't count on it. So leaving him at the 5 is cool. We just need to make sure we have a 4 that can be able to do that, but also help out with defense and get rebounds. So I'm cool with Bam standing at the 5 because
So y'all
that's
need
pretty
like an
much
AD.
like an AD or even a Karl Anthony Towns, somebody like that. So
Game changers. I got you. Hey, he said it. He did that on purpose. He knew what he was
you're right.
doing.
You're right. You're right. But we just need somebody like that. So that'll help out. But accolades as far as next year, I can see, like I said, I could do that. I would see Bam being in the conversation defensive player of the year if he keeps us up and plays great defense because he can actually guard all 5 positions. So that could happen. And like I said, Caleb Martin, depending on where he is, and if we still have Tyler, because more likely Tyler would probably start. So I could see that. But yeah, if I was to bet on that, it would be Bam being the defensive year conversation and Caleb Martin probably being the 6 man of the year conversation because he really stepped up big time in the playoffs this year.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, sounds like you got some. I mean, you coming from the finals, going into next season, you already know what to expect from the team, and you got some big names linked to your team. But I think my man a Wizards fan, he jumping the gun already. So I'm gonna flip it. I can't ask.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button, no matter what you're listening to or watching it. Hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all at the next episode.